Affected.
Infected.
Hello and welcome to Infected, the online TV show that started with so much momentum and speed that it reached #1 on iTunes, but has since crashed so horribly that it can only hobble, bloody and scarred, towards imminent cancellation.
Oh, man.
I'm Internet's Martin Sargent. And I'm joined as always by my good friend the Gator. What's up, Gator?
How you doing, buddy?
How about that?
Wow, that was...
How about that?
That's
You think your life's fucked up?
That was the best crash I've ever seen.
That was a pretty good one, huh? And I saw that, and I'm like, I know what that man's going through. Like, that I just really felt like me on that thing.
You crashed so
metaphorically.
hard. They're going to have to cut you out of your jumpsuit.
I'm all bloody and scarred. They're trying to stand me up. It's like medically the worst thing that they should possibly be doing. Like, I got my Colt legs. I can't even stand.
That guy's machine just broke apart underneath him. It came out from
Know
under
the
him.
feeling. Know the
Go
feeling.
face first. Why was he trying to ride down that hill, though?
172 kilometers an hour going down.
He's like, I can't go any further. He's like, put me on like a 70-degree hill.
I mean, I ride like down a small hill here in San Francisco, and I'm like, I'm afraid I'm. Like, you ever do that? Like when you're a kid, you're riding down a hill and you just like fall to pieces because you get a little scared. I mean, you shouldn't fall off the bike, but you get so scared that you just lose control and eat shit.
You get that wobble.
Yeah.
Speed wobble, they call it.
You get kind of scared. You like start crying before you even fall.
You ever get on a skateboard and you try to run off of it, and you're like...
No.
Yeah, that happened to me a couple times.
Oh, man.
Well, go ahead.
Well, Gator, this is a big coincidence. Obviously, you're named Gator, and you're a human, and so you're sort of this reptilian sort of guy.
Got a little bit of that.
A little bit of that. Well, we got a guy on the show. His name is John Rhodes. He's from Reptoids.com. This is a guy, he's a scientist, a researcher.
Yeah.
He says that he has proof that there is a race of reptilians, human reptile hybrids living below the earth. Says this quest of ours for extraterrestrial life, all these people that look up in the skies, nuts.
Yeah.
Nuts. What we should be doing is looking down in the caves and caverns. Actually, he doesn't think they're nuts. I mean, he believes in the stuff up there too.
Right.
But he says we should
he's
also
got
be
proof.
looking down there. He's gonna let us in on his findings. He's got some very compelling evidence that these things happen.
I look
down
forward
there.
to that. That sounds
I think it's
neat.
it's a pretty high-minded discussion for the Infected program, really.
Sure.
The way it's been going lately.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I believe that.
Why
it ain't
not?
Ain't gonna take too much to convince me that. I think.
Who knows? They just found some new, like frog species in the Philippines.
Well, that's
So
a
why
bit of a
not
difference
this?
between
Why not a race of intelligent reptilian people underneath,
6 foot tall and walk around.
Sure.
Seems plausible
Frog.
to me.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get all the answers later. But before that, I continue to be inspired ever since we moved back here to Old Fogtown. I think I have a lot of things that I want to say to you, the American people, and therefore I started blogging again. It's a segment that we here call Blogging by the Bay. Old Mr. Blue Jay, just sitting on your branch, just squawking away. Why are you so cranky, Mr. Blue Jay? I'll bet it's because you wish you were a seagull instead of just a shitty blue jay. But even seagulls are kinda sucky, so I guess that makes you the world's dirtiest piece of shit of a bird. Thanks, Bay.
That's some deep thoughts you have out there by the bay.
It's amazing what comes to you when the placidity of the bay and the fumes from the power plant over there.
Just everything kind of gets clear to you, doesn't it?
It gets a little clear.
Distills
It gets a
away
little
all
clear.
the muck and interference of the world.
I do a lot of good crying over there too.
Yeah, you can make those sort of...
There's not a lot of other people out there either. I mean, you go to a park in this town, you tend to go to a place like Golden Gate Park. You don't go to that little park over there by the power plant.
Right.
I don't know why.
Maybe it's
I don't know why.
hypodermic needles.
There's really one way to follow a good blogging by the bay, and you know what that is?
What?
Good stripper pole follies.
Oh, yeah,
Let's
my
do
favorites.
some stripper pole follies. This is another installment of our ongoing series that is an investigation into what happens when a husky drunk chick tries to dance on a stripper pole while their boyfriend videotapes it.
Yeah.
Now, I would say that this is probably the best looking of all the stripper pole folly girls we have. I mean, she's not quite as husky as the other ones, and I think that she's moving pretty gracefully there. She's kind of doing a little bit of a Duddy Wine kind of thing going right there.
Definitely has a drunk.
He's playing to the camera well.
She's drunk.
Going back. And then all of a sudden, right here, Watch what happens. Just boom. I mean, there's no real explanation for that. It's almost like the vengeful hand of God just gave her like a loving, like,
just
fuck you,
her on the
whore.
shoulder.
Just like that. Just kind of went boom, like that. Just like a nudge.
It's like when,
boom. Just
like
pushed her right off the stage.
That's when insane amounts of vodka and cranberry juices meet the laws of physics right there.
That's what happens right there. She was like, it just, it finally caught up to her, like, bam, boom.
The great god of stripper poles was offended in some way. He just hip-checked her off.
She was looking, I thought she was looking good. I thought she was looking pretty good. I mean, it looked to all the world like she was just going to keep riding high up with that stripper pole, and then she just crashed down. She's like the fucking Mets. She's like the Mets of strippers.
She's like a 7-game losing streak on the last week of the season.
All right, speaking of hot girls, Gator, you still leering at girls online when you're
man.
sitting out there using Patrick Norton's stolen laptop, stealing my wireless internet access?
I got a good one this week.
You got one for us?
Yeah.
All right, it's Gators
I
Gals.
found this
What do you
new
got
gal.
this week?
Well, it's this new singer gal. I think she's called Rihanna.
Rihanna. I don't
She
know
is
this
hot.
girl. I don't know her.
I wrote her a poem too. Can I read it?
No, that's her there?
Yeah.
She's
Her name's
something.
Rihanna.
She's
Rihanna.
something. Rihanna.
Rihanna.
All right, you wrote a poem to her, huh? Let's hear it.
Rihanna. I have heard the lone howl of the solitary wolf and seen its hot breath climb like tendrils of vine across a shattered winter moon. Rihanna, your visage looses the strings that bind me like they were penciled in by a frail and shaking hand. Tonight, Rihanna, I will take you by the hand and dance slow with you till we become one. And later, after some drinks, I will slather you in pork fat and fuck you senseless on a rubber sheet that I keep in my truck. That's my poem to Rihanna.
It's a love poem.
Yeah, it's a love poem. Can't you feel the love in that? There's love all over that.
She's a singer?
Yeah, I think
What does
she's
she
a singer.
sing?
She sings that song. Under my umbrella, Ella, A. Under my umbrella, Ella. Like that. You've heard that. It's a big hit.
I never heard that.
It's a big hit. You should check
Can
it
you
out.
dance the Duddy wine to that?
Oh, I bet you could.
All right, we'll have another Gators Gal next week. Maybe we should take next week off for the Gators Gals.
Well,
Is that all right with you? We're going to take next week off because I think
you don't like
you're
the
taking
Gators
too
Gal?
many liberties with the Gators Gals, to be perfectly honest. But we're not going to take a week off of this week or next week. Is Martin's Museum of Internet Oddities. That's right. It's a huge crowd pleaser here on Infected, so we keep doing it. This week's exhibit in Martin's Museum of Internet Oddities is hugecrab.com. Hugecrab.com. This is just one of those sites that is just so elegant, so wondrous, so full of fascination. You think to yourself, Jesus, why didn't I think of that? Why didn't I Neil Armstrong that idea? Building a web page about people with huge crabs. Did you even know crabs like this existed? Look at that. Talk about reptoids living on it. These are like half crustacean, half human things.
Man, I have bad dreams about a crab like
Look
that.
at that. Have you ever seen, can you eat these kinds of things? Good
wouldn't-
Lord.
I wouldn't wanna eat
They look like that thing from Aliens. These aren't crabs. That's like,
Those crabs are. Oh, that's that coconut eating crab.
look at this guy. I mean, that could kill you. Either that man has a very small head, or that crab could like really
Now,
decapitate
is he
him.
gonna eat a crab?
He's gonna
like
eat that.
The meat ain't good on a crab that big.
That's got to be tough.
gotta
I'm
be
sorry.
kind of gamey.
So there's a couple pages of this here. There's a couple pages. It's
It's fascinating though.
oh, that's a fake crab though.
That's not
I think that kind of like ruins the site by putting these. Oh my God! I think that we're just gonna end right there. Look at it.
Enough said there.
There you go. That's internet for you right
You
there.
need a sledgehammer to crack that fucker open.
Hugecrab.com. That's this week's exhibit in Martin's Museum of Internet Oddities. Hey, people, I really need some new. Why don't you send me some ideas? Because perhaps I'm running out. I just showed you huge crabs.
Yeah,
Actually, I kind of enjoyed it.
I did too. I
I enjoyed that one. All right, send your submissions into Martin's Museum of Internet Oddities to infected@revision3.com. All right, up next, we got cryptozoologist John Rhodes. He's going to say, don't look up, people. Don't look up looking for those extraterrestrials. What you want to do? Look down. They're right underneath our feet. Right after this word from our sponsor.
You need to get a haircut.
Oh, hi, I'm Gator. And you know what? I like sex. I like it a whole lot. and I bet you do too. But there's a big difference between liking something and doing it. And you can bet your ass when it comes to sex, Gator here is a doer. And now you can be a doer too. All you need to do is buy my new book, Running Leg, Gator's Guide to Getting Sex.
This book works. I can fight off the bitches.
Bald, fat, broke, living in a trailer home, or no home at all. It don't matter. You will get sex. Learn common manners, man grooming, the art of making your own musk at home, humor and jokes, mind control, advanced knife fighting, and over 34 ways to get sex using the most powerful aphrodisiac known to man, bacon. My hand to Jesus. If it don't work, we can meet up and I'll let you take a free swing at me.
This book changed my life. I can't even go to Applebee's without getting sex.
And for a limited time offer, order now and get a free DVD of Gator's foolproof pickup lines. All the best lines from a world-class pickup artist, including, "Damn, woman, you smell like fatback." "How long have you worked at this Shoney's?" "You don't sweat too much for a fat girl." "One look at you and I forgot all about hunting." And many, many more. Order now for just $19.99. Running Leg, Gator's Guide to Getting Sex.
And welcome back to Infected. My next friend says that the fact that we tend to look up rather than down in our search for extraterrestrials and aliens is a classic magician's distraction. And really what we should be doing is searching in the thousands of miles of catacombs, caverns, and caves underneath the Earth's crust. From Western Montana, here's John Rhodes. How you doing, John?
I'm doing good, Martin. How are you?
Doing fantastic. So your site, one of my favorites on the internet, Reptoids.com, it posts the theory that there, in fact, is a race of intelligent reptilian humanoids living under the Earth. This is right?
As ridiculous as it might sound to some people, there is evidence to say that we may not have been the only beings to evolved intelligence and the upright position looking humanoid like we do today.
So you realize that it sounds ridiculous.
Oh, absolutely.
But
it
you
sounded
also...
ridiculous when I started hearing people talk about encountering beings like this. I just thought, oh, these guys are nuts.
Okay, so there have been encounters, because the other thing that you said is that there is evidence that this exists. And I'm wondering, what is the best evidence that there are, in fact, these reptoids living beneath us?
Well, we have eyewitness reports, and the eyewitness reports are anywhere from a guy working a gas station to, say, a full-bird colonel that's about to be promoted to general. So these people from wide areas of our population have seen them.
So I'm not going to...
I think I seen one once at a 76 station back in 1987. He was in like at a truck stop. He was taking a shower. He's all scaly.
That's right. That's why they don't send them out to do your windshields anymore.
Is that what they look like? Describe these reptoids to us.
Basically, they're large humanoid beings. They've got the same 2 legs, 2 arms, upright, head in the same location. They don't have any hair on their body. Most of it is all scales or beaded like the skin of a lizard.
Sure.
Right.
They almost are built like a linebacker, very muscular, vertical slit pupils, eyes that are very almond-shaped and sometimes wrap a little bit more around the sides of their head. No ear, a slit for mouth, no visible nose except for a small bump with holes, no ears.
I think you just described Brian Urlacher.
Opposable thumb. What was that?
I think you just described Brian Urlacher. He is a linebacker for the Bears.
And you have very muscular legs, and this is the average type you see, between 6.5 to 7.5 feet tall. But there have been others, just as many varieties of human beings as there are. There seems to be varieties of these other beings as well. Some of them can be rather short and slimmer with a little bit of a tail to them.
Now, this is a pretty specific description that you just gave us. How many eyewitness accounts are there? And have you, John, ever seen a reptoid?
Oh, well, there's thousands of eyewitness accounts now. Whether or not they're all believable is worthy of looking into.
Yeah, I'd say so.
But, it only takes one white crow to prove that not all crows are black. And so if you have somebody like a colonel telling a FBI-trained sheriff down in South Carolina that they saw one of these, and then all of a sudden Dan Rather sends out the nightly news to find out what's going on, which is exactly what happened.
Well, we all know
back in
Rather's
1988.
full of shit, though. Come on.
What was that?
We all know Dan Rather's full of shit.
That's right. But see, the colonel and the sheriff, who were reporting these things occurring in their area may not have been full of crap.
Yeah.
And, there's no reason for somebody who has so much at stake with these type of individuals that they would falsify reports. Now, the other thing is that you have scientists by the name of Dale Russell who looked back at the dinosaurs and said, wait a minute, if you had allowed some of the most advanced dinosaurs to survive, what would they have ended up looking like? And morphologically, when you do the extrapolation based on all the fossil records, you see that these guys were turning more and more into the humanoid shape if haven't given a chance.
Now we
to survive,
learned,
and that's the model he came up with.
We learned in science that they turned into birds.
Right. Some dinosaurs survived, and so we can't take that blanket statement about the extinction of the dinosaurs. We hear that all the time. It's just like saying Columbus discovered America. They're still teaching kids that, and completely ignoring that, hey, the Vikings were here, the Chinese were here, all these other cultures were here beforehand. It seems that it seems that mainstay society doesn't like to embrace new ideas.
Yeah.
They'd rather hang on to false old ones.
So do you think that we should be teaching reptoids in our classrooms?
What I think we should do is say, listen, we've only discovered about 2 to 5% of all life on Earth. We're still not even met the other 95% of all the creatures that are here.
Yeah.
Every time you get these scientists out into the middle of the Vietnam jungles or the jungles of Borneo and such, you're always coming out with new species, and some of them are quite large and very, very unique. To say that something didn't exist because you don't have one now doesn't mean it doesn't. It's the same way that, those Egyptian pyramids showed the pharaohs with small people on their knees. Now people thought, well, that's insane. It wasn't until too long ago we found out that the Hobbit Floresiensis back in the islands of Indonesia were discovered, and these guys were fully developed at 3 feet tall.
Hey,
I think we have a lot more of those amazing discoveries we're about to encounter. And the most amazing one is hey, instead of looking towards outer space for spaceships coming from other planets, maybe they're here already, or maybe some of these animal beings that are on our planet evolved intelligence alongside us, but they just remain hidden. I think that's the key of where our future is when it comes to subject matter.
Those guys, like the dinosaurs, just have brains like the size of a walnut or a pecan or something. Like maybe we could just embrace these reptoids and bring them out here, and we could get them to do some of these jobs that that nobody got that labor shortage.
Well, you know what? They might want to take some of us back to do something too. So I would suggest that maybe we just open up a trade agreement and a cultural exchange program if there are such a species.
Let
like
them
that,
in
and then
NAFTA.
take it from there.
I go party with them.
Now, there's some theories out there, as you know, that Bill Clinton, George Bush, Condoleezza Rice, some of the royals like Prince Charles, these are in fact 7-foot-tall reptilian creatures that drink people's blood. You've heard these theories, right?
Yeah, and I've also heard rumors that even in their private social affairs, they're afraid because the people that are accusing them, they think that they're reptoids as well.
Wow.
So you don't think...
In other words, it's so easy for us just to point to our leaders and say, hey, man, it's not because we're humans and we have this killer ape in us. It's because it's not even a human being. And you know what? There's been too many times throughout history where we've done carnage into each other, and to suddenly blame everybody else and say that they're shape-shifting, they're not even really human. Hey, listen, it's not the first time in history we've considered our leaders as subhuman.
Right. Yeah. Well, we know that Condoleezza Rice and George Bush and them are in fact dangerous, but are these reptoids that you speak of who live under the earth, should we be frightened of them?
Yeah, what do you do if you find one of them in your car?
You know what? I would say that you should be more frightened at this point in time of other human beings that you have to interact with. You don't know what are capable of at any moment.
But are you scared for the safety of your family? Because you're at the forefront. These guys, I don't think, seem to want to be found, or else we would have found them already. They would have come up and tried to make some communion with us. And you're the guy out there more than anyone else trying to lift the veil on this phenomenon. So do you in any way feel a little bit of fear for the safety of yourself and your family, that they're going to come get you?
Not really, only in as much as that the only way that we're able to overcome our fear is by understanding something. And I would hope that by sharing the knowledge that I've accumulated over the last 15 or 20 years on the subject matter and bringing it out to the UFO community and seeing it become so explosive as it has right now, with all kinds of theories attached to it, most of which are a bunch of BS, that just through the educational or being able to give people more of an opportunity to think for themselves instead of just be conditioned to have a knee-jerk reaction when they see something like that, if they ever see anything like that one day.
Right.
Amen, brother. You and I are on the same page. Always great to talk to you, John.
All right, Martin, it is always good to talk to you.
Let's do it again. I want you to come back and tell us about the Reptoid City under the city of Los Angeles. Can you do that sometime?
That might be a lot of fun. And make sure you chain that gator there.
All right.
I've been there.
I'll try.
All right.
I'll try. John, we'll do it again real soon, okay?
Okay, Martin, thanks.
Take
Bye,
care.
Gator.
That is John Rhodes. If you want to learn more about reptilians, you got to go to his website. It's the best one on internet as far as this stuff is concerned, Reptoids.com. Okay, that was a great interview,
That was
but
fascinating. It's
that
kinda
was fascinating stuff.
I like his approach, sort of like walk quietly and carry a bang stick.
Yeah, you know, I like he doesn't jump to conclusions. He's open-minded.
right.
He takes a very scientific approach to this. You know, it's a controversial subject. You know, it's a controversial subject when you got people in the rest of the UFO conspiracy community going, I don't know. Sounds
You
a
know,
little.
he did pretty
sounds
much,
a
like
little-
the description he gave of them was sort of like half my mom's family.
Yeah. I mean, you know, he's doing this, and I think somewhere in my subconscious, I've seen these people many times.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Hard to say.
I bet there's a lot of miners out there and spelunkers and everyone else that probably have
Probably seen
come
him.
across these people. That's why I don't mind. That's
Yeah,
one of the reasons
it's
I don't
interesting.
mind.
It's
Not
interesting.
only am I scared of being suffocated, I don't want to see a reptoid. Anyway, that's all the time we got for this wonderful edition of Infected.
Hold on, wait. We got to. I don't like to. I want to get that scary image out of my mind. So maybe you could tell us a story. Just
Story?
Yeah, quick one.
All right, I guess we got
got it.
time
You
for
got a good
one short story.
Oh, goody.
This is the story of Marcel, the man with the golden computer. Once upon a time, there was a man named Marcel who had a shining golden computer. And not only was the computer made of solid gold, but it was also magical. On Marcel's awesome computer, whenever you typed a question into the search engine Google, no matter what the question was, it gave you the right answer. There was always a line of people outside Marcel's front door as the townsfolk waited their turn to have the important questions answered into whatever major issue arose in their lives. "Is my husband cheating on me?" asked Juanita the baker. "Should I bet on the Cowboys this Sunday so I have money to save my farm?" asked Ed the cranberry grower. "Will the weather be nice on July 19th for my outdoor wedding?" asked Gert the dog groomer. Yes, thanks to Marcel and his golden magical computer, the town was a terribly pleasant place to live. But then one morning, a few years later, after the townsfolk had become so reliant on the magic golden computer that they even asked it the simplest, most obvious questions like, "Can I boil water in my cowboy hat?" or "Do I need to feed my child after the first year?" Marcel went to turn on his magic golden computer and it wouldn't boot up. Panicked, Marcel called the magic golden computer tech support number and waited on hold for 46 minutes before a man with a very heavy Indian accent who said his name was Peter picked up. "Peter!" shrieked Marcel. "My magic golden computer won't boot up and there are already 16 people waiting on my front lawn to ask you questions." "Oh," said Peter, "we no longer support the magic golden computer. You need to upgrade to the magic platinum computer." But Marcel didn't have the money to upgrade to the platinum, and within 2 weeks of utter chaos, the town was nothing more than a smoldering ash pit because no longer did anyone know how to solve even the simplest problems without consulting Marcel's magic golden computer. And so I ask you, Infected Army, is internet your magical golden computer? Do you no longer know how to find anything without MapQuest? Can you no longer book a flight or rent a car without Expedia? Can you no longer meet a girl without Adult Friend Finder? Well, be careful, because when Y2K shuts down the grid, unless you have a little wit and self-reliance, your life might also become nothing more than a smoldering ash pit. But then again, maybe without internet, you go outside to ride a bike or throw the ball around once in a while, and thereby lose enough of that ass fat to actually meet a girl without your precious Adult Friend Finder. The end.
Wow, that one had like a little message at the end of it, a little lesson.
I'm trying to do that. I found out that some people, they don't always get the little instructional part of the fables that we tell here. So I'm trying to spell it out a little bit for the slower members of the Infected Army. You got to spell it out.
Put a little button on it.
Little bit. Tie a bow on it.
Put a bow around it.
Don't leave any cabbage on the dock.
Don't leave any lettuce out there.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Right.
And that really is all the time we have for this wonderful edition of Infected. I'd like to thank my friend John Rhodes from Reptoids.com for stopping by.
Thanks,
For
John.
the Gator, this is Martin Sargent reminding you, don't get ripped. by the Riptide. We'll see you at the bar, everyone. Woohoo!
You've been watching Infected, and if you haven't been watching and listening to Infected, you're now infected. That means you're infected. It means maybe perhaps you'll grow scales and lose your nose and get a little slit for a mouth and become a reptoid, or maybe not. Maybe you'll just be infected and no one will know it. But either way, you're infected. Good night.
Infected is written by Martin Sargent and Jay Speiden. Camera and audio by Joey Rabier. Edited by Mauricio Balvanera. Have a comment? Visit our message boards at revision3.com/forum.
Joey's a reptoid.